up, everyone? Welcome back to No Cap Space. Tyler and Andrew in the building today, and we have, I guess, breaking news-ish, a little bit of emergency episode here because we get a mid-season WNBA trade.
We never get these.
Never, and especially like mid-season for real. Like the deadline isn't even until like after the Olympic break, so like we are for real mid-season. Marina Mabrey, you going to the Connecticut Sun. This deal really kind of came out of nowhere. It seemed like, in the sense of like, because there's no action with trades really in the WNBA. So a move that relatively, like, I'm seeing the vision for just kind of across the board. But ultimately a move that is still surprising. But you see the trade details on the board right now. Mabrey and a second round pick for Banham, Jefferson, a first and a 2026 swap. I think the biggest thing before we dive into the basketball side of this, so we kind of look at the trade aspect to this, is that Annie Costabile, who was all over this, breaking initially for the Chicago Sun-Times, this is a quote from her article. However, this wasn't a calculated move by Pagliocca, the GM for the Sky. Instead, it was a response to a player's request to be traded according to multiple league sources. So a requested trade from Marina Mabrey. Andrew, your thoughts on that before we dive into the actual basketball of this?
I mean, how do we know it wasn't Rachel Banham requesting the trade? Rachel Banham hit all those three.
Come on. Look, she got the chips now.
No, it's pretty clear who it was that asked to get out of Chicago. I think this is good for all sides. I see where it's needed. Marina Mabrey, for all of the issues that she's had this year, is a player that in this league has proven that she can get her own shot, can find her own shot, get you out of a scoring drought pinch. She can shoot from deep. And that's kind of what Connecticut needs right now. They need one other scorer that can get their own shot, because so much of them as a team is reliant on being able to force turnovers, blocks, steals, and be able to turn those into transition points and beat you that way. But when you're able to kind of slow them down and gut it out in the half court, Alyssa Thomas is not that kind of scorer. You kind of have DeWanna Bonner, and that's really it. So if you add Marina, you're not sacrificing a ton on the defensive end, because Connecticut's already such a defensive-oriented team. So I love it for her to kind of get a new change of pace, a new ability to kind of see something new. Her time with the Sky was pretty weird anyway. They leveraged the farm to go get her.
Yeah, even the start, like everything across the board, like it was a weird entrance. It's now it kind of not unexpected, but not unexpected. You know, like it's like
well, and it was one of those things where like she's not like a major star in this league, right? Like she's not a superstar, and the way the trade operated when she first went to Chicago was that it was a superstar trade.
This is a foundational franchise player that you are trading for.
She's not that. So that's one interesting piece. On the Sky side, what amazing GM work this is. I mean, you leveraged away, and we talked about this like 3 weeks ago. There were so many picks that they gave away to get Mabrey in the first place, and now they get 2 opportunities to get picks back. They can move up. This is also living under the expectation that they are going to be lower in the draft because they're going to have better opportunities to succeed later on. But that 2025 first is great because you want to have a pick in this next draft. This is a good, deep draft class that we're getting coming up. And then you get Rachel Banham as a 3-point marksman. Mariah Jefferson is a veteran presence that gives you some big depth. Even if she's not really going to be someone that plays that much, you need more older voices in that locker room, especially with so many dominant personalities. You need veteran presences to balance them out, and that's what Banham and Mo Jefferson are. I do like the fact that like we're going full 90s basketball with the Chicago Sky now. Like, Banham's the only 3-point shooter on
that's Steve Kerr.
Man, she's dead-ass Steve Kerr. So I think this works out great for everybody. I'm curious how Marina Mabrey and Dejanay Carrington are going to... You know that scene in the start of Step Brothers when, like, Dale and Brennan are standing next to each other in the front yard. And he's like, you can call me Dale. He's like, you can call me Dragon. Like, I feel like that's Dejanay Carrington waiting to bring Marina Mabrey into Mohegan Sun Casino and just be like, I'm Dejanay, but you got to call me Dragon. Like, I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated because Dejanay even tweeted about it. She was like heartbreak.
Yeah, that's
sad,
all the
sad,
emojis.
sad.
Yeah.
And it was just like, man, a lot of people got by that fake.
The fake Mabrey.
Mabrey.
I saw Courtney Williams get got by it. Azrae Stevens was tweeting about
Stevens
it.
Got. Our buddy Chris Williamson got. Like, everybody got cooked, man. But I think it was this is a great trade that works for everyone. Yeah. And I totally understand why Marina Mabrey did not see a role for herself there. She was not playing her best basketball at all. And we fool ourselves with this all the time in thinking that a player all of a sudden has turned bad when so much of sports is fit related. And it's very clear that fit did not work for her. And I think it might work a little bit better in a place like Connecticut. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I completely agree across the board. Like, I think to your point, like you said, fantastic GM work. Like, what was given up, it's one thing the picks, which were, I haven't pulled up here, 2 first-round draft picks in 23 and 24, the right to swap 25 with the Wings, and then you also give her the contract that you gave her, which was massive. Like we said, this was a franchise cornerstone move that the Chicago Sky made, trying to essentially bounce back from losing the pieces that they lost from the championship team, Candace Parker. So that was kind of their swing, and then James Wade leaves and goes to Toronto, never to be seen again. And like it never made sense to me, honestly, to begin with. And now I think also I'm very interested, and this is kind of more general W like speaking here, but I think the value of draft picks have never been higher, just in the sense of how deep these drafts are about to be and the talent that is coming in. Like, we've seen this class, and we know what's coming next in the the next 2, 3, 4 years. So I'm interested in seeing now how this operates, this league wide, and seeing the first round pick here, and obviously the Sky making an emphasis on trying to replenish the picks that they lost by going to get Mabrey. That is something that I'm just like kind of across the board really looking at to see. But yeah, to your point, this feels like a move that makes sense, because for the Sun, you got to do something. You got to try something, because this, to your point, Alyssa Thomas is not a shot creator. She's a fantastic player. She's a fantastic engine that you can kind of revolve your team around and have her be what the team orbits around. But ultimately, when they get in the half court, who's going to go create a shot? And that's what I feel like they have been lacking. Like, DeWanna Bonner might step through and shoot it from 40 feet somehow, and it goes in, and it's incredible. But they need that other option, and I think that they get that in Mabrey. And I understand the swing, because they're an older team. Like, your core is an older core, and you haven't that clock is ticking. It's been ticking, frankly, and you haven't been able to get over the hump of the Liberty, haven't been able to get over the hump of the Aces. So now is the time to make a move like this, and it's not a crazy give up, I feel like, from their point of view. Like, you obviously the first round pick, I think the value is going up. Banham's a great shooter to help space the floor for them, but I think with the offense you're getting in Mabrey can kind of offset that in that sense. So I understand the move from both sides, and I really think I'm very interested now in the flexibility and the added flexibility that the Sky are going to have now that they're off the books with Mabrey, and seeing, because I don't know, man. I think there's a lot of people that would be willing to buy into what the Sky are doing, and from a free agent basis, with the way Spoon is doing, obviously the excitement around the team with Angel and Camilla, and Kennedy, this is a team that I feel 1 or 2 moves, major moves, and they're in a completely different tier of the W, and now they're giving themselves the flexibility to try and do that, whether that's with draft picks or with free agent signing. So that's what's exciting to me.
Yeah, and you made a great point here, and this actually dovetails with another major piece of news today, the front office sports reporting that the WNBA was going to enter into a $2.2 billion broadcast deal over the next 11 years. The value of draft picks in this league has never necessarily been important outside of the top 3 because the salary variance is so low relative to the cap, right? So the way things operate right now under the current CBA, Your lowest tier of rookie is making what, $70,000. Your
Yeah.
highest player in the league is what, 240,
Mhm.
250-ish, right?
Mhm.
With Asia Wilson and Stewie at the top. And like that's before we get into like pseudo cap.
Right.
That's for another time. But it's very easy to say, okay, I'm going to take an $80,000 a year, 10-year veteran over this draft pick. And so I will throw away the pick because it really doesn't matter whether or not this kid pans out because I'm going to trend toward a vet anyway. Now, with this money coming in, and mind you, there's going to be a major CBA battle.
Oh, it's going to get wicked.
Because all the players are going to opt out in the next year. They have an opt-out in 2025, right? So all of them are going to opt out. They're all going to go into pitch battle with the WNBA and advocate for a higher revenue share. Because the argument has always been, I'm looking at the camera, so we don't have any qualms about what this is. WNBA players have never been asked to be paid as much as their men's counterparts in the NBA. What they are asking is that the revenue share be the
percentage
same
of
number for the men. Currently, the men, through their Players Association, negotiated 51% of the revenue sharing. So 51% of what the NBA makes every year goes back to the players, whether that's through marketing agreements, whether that is through getting paid in your salary, it goes to a team's cap, etc. Right now, women's basketball, those players are around 9 to 10%. So even if you manage to get like to 20 or 25%, this is a league now that was making $60 million annually. You're getting 10% of that out. That's $6 million that has to get doled out among 144 different players. Now you're talking about $200 million annually off the broadcast deal alone. And now factor in maybe that rev share goes up to 20%. That's $40 million dispersed over 144 players now instead of $6 million dispersed over 144 players off broadcast alone, mind you. There's a lot of other stuff in there that we can really get weedsy on. But the point that I'm trying to make is, if you look at Major League Soccer right now, which is the most applicable broadcast contract that exists, right? They had $2.5 billion over 10 years with Apple. So that's about $250 million annually Major League Soccer is receiving off this deal. A minimum salary in Major League Soccer is around $89,000 if you are like an academy kid, which would be like a rookie deal. You're around $75,000. They've got some funky cap rules, but we'll just say for the sake of argument, top end salaries there is $683,000, and that's dispersed around 800 to 900 players league wide. So if you are now all of a sudden are in a scenario come 2026 when all of this stuff potentially kicks in, and your minimum is $80,000 for a rookie, or you now can go as high as $650,000 to $700,000 for an Asia Wilson or a Brianna Stewart. Now the veteran variance gets a lot more significant. And if you are a team like the Sky who loves to pinch pennies, and we know this, you are much more likely to want to go and hoard picks because now the picks are valuable. Now the kids that are coming out of school that you can pay $75 instead of the veteran who now is probably looking at a $150,000 a year annual minimum is now, it changes the trajectory of how you build teams in this league. And so, amazing shit for the WNBA. Like this it's the richest broadcast deal ever on the table for women's sports ever. Worldwide ever. That is a landmark deal. It doubles what my projections was, and I'm a dude that I would say is pretty tapped into the media landscape of rights.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah,
I thought this was going to be $100 million to $125 million deal. That if they got that, like throw flowers at Kathy Engelbert and build her a statue in every WNBA city. She's doubled that up. That's amazing stuff from the Deloitte executive, right? So if you manage to get all of this stuff done, it makes this trade look even better for the Sky, because now you're talking about looking into the future and how much more you're going to get. And on the Sun side, that Mabrey contract is not going to age like milk near as much because you've got her locked in for a longer period of time. So if you hit 26 and she's at what, 230, 240, that might be a mid-level deal come the next CBA. So you might at least get a year or two of her under a really cap-friendly agreement before she goes to market one more time through. So I love the two things kind of working in concert in news today. But this is one of those trades, man. I think everybody wins. I think everyone wins out here. The only one that maybe doesn't win is Dejanay Carrington. Because right now, like,
Yeah.
Not only is she just like not happy on a personal standpoint, but also, and I guess I'll throw this over to you before we go.
Yeah.
The lineup is gonna be interesting here. Like,
Yeah.
how do you fit the rotations? Because Mabrey is a decent defender, but not a great one. And Dejanay Carrington's been playing at an all WNBA first team defense level, or I guess WNBA all defense first team level this season so far.
Yeah.
How do you get them to work while you're still sitting with DeWanna Bonner and other guards that are on that roster?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is now kind of the interesting. This is the core of the Sun. You have 3 bigs, and you have now 2 breakout guards in Dejanay and Ty Harris, and then you now bring in Marina Mabrey.
About Ty Harris.
So like this is now like, do you ask Marina to play point guard and bring Ty off the bench? I honestly I don't know the answer to this, because like it gets nasty, because like the core of what they have has been solid. Like it's just getting over that next hump. So are you asking Marina to come and start and take over that role of what's already been working and try and take what's been good and make it great? Or are you just asking her to come and be the addition? Maybe it's off the bench or whatever, and however that looks. I'll be interested to see if they just try and like stick her in the starting lineup at like point guard, because I don't think you can sit Dejanay. I think it'd be Ty.
You can't. She's primary.
Dejanay has been fantastic this season, and Ty has too. But if you're gonna pick one, I would imagine it would be Ty. And
which means we get a Mabrey Carrington back.
Yes, which is hilarious. From the same studio.
Are they going to pass to each other?
From the same studio that brought you Khan Sophie, we now present to you Dejanay and Marina.
I mean,
it worked out there.
Sophie
it's working out there.
Best friends now, so
yeah, right. And it's working out for everyone. Here. So no, I'll be very interested in seeing that. And I will say before my last point that I got, I'm very excited because I don't know if anyone's happier in this than Kennedy Carter. Because now you get you are the perimeter scorer for this team. You get the floor spacing and Rachel Banham that Marina was kind of on and off giving. Well, I think Banham does less overall, but when it comes to 3-point shooting, that's her thing. Like she's gonna space that floor for you.
She knows her role. Like that's the difference. Mabrey was not a 3-and-D spot up player.
Yep.
Banham is,
and that is fitting that next to Kennedy and obviously your two rookie bigs. I love it, man. I really do, and I think Kennedy. It'll be. I don't know if the stats will go up, per se, because the stats have already been solid, and I don't know if it's necessarily about getting more shots or anything. I just think the manner and the ease that she's going to be able to get some of these shots off and whatnot, I think that will be very, very exciting for her.
Yeah, I agree. Play us out, Johnny.
There we go. All right, well, it's a win-win for both teams here. I think we saw that, and another win. Isn't no cap space, friends.
I was gonna say
because
All-Star before
I'm about to be on the flight. Let's see. If we're dropping this tonight, I'll be on the flight tomorrow morning, Thursday, to Phoenix. Boots on the ground, credential coverage for no cap space. It'll be a very, very long weekend. It'll be a very fun weekend with a lot of content going on. We'll have the skills challenge, 3-point. We'll have the fan activation, and obviously Team USA versus Team WNBA, the All-Star game. So make sure you're tapped in on all of our socials. It's more likely going to be most of our coverage on the Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. It's all everywhere. We're going to be everywhere. I'm going to be in as many places as we can, bringing you as much content as we can. So make sure you're tapped in with that, and you're subscribed on the YouTube so you don't miss out on some of the interviews we got coming. Wink, wink. And we will see you next time.